All right, here is 7-1, numbers 18 and 26. So looking at 7-1, or number 18, sorry. So basically the first thing that you want to notice is that we have something with a parentheses that has an exponent outside the parentheses. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to distribute that into our parentheses. And so I want to point out that there are invisible ones here. So if I have something with no exponent, then it has an invisible one. So when I'm multiplying, I'm going to be multiplying by 1. So I still have 6t to the negative 1 on top. And then in the denominator, I have 11 u to the negative third v to the negative third, right? Because 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. And then I have w to the fourth. Now, I want to look at my numbers and see if I can reduce. I can't. 6 and 11 don't really reduce. They don't have any factors in common. So there's nothing I can do there. So I'm going to leave the 6 and the 11 the way they are. You could do 6 divided by 11 and have a decimal on top, but that's not necessary. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take everything that has a negative exponent and we're going to make it positive by moving it to the other side of the fraction. So if I have a negative exponent in the numerator, that needs to go to the denominator. So I have 6, 11, t to the first, u to the negative 3, v to the negative 3, w to the fourth. And if I have negative exponents in the denominator, those need to come to the numerator. So anything with a negative exponent in the denominator needs to come to the numerator. So I have 6 u to the third, v to the third, 11 t. When I have a power of 1, I don't need to write it. So I'm going to stop writing that 1. And I have w to the fourth. So the main thing here is when I have something negative in an exponent, I need to take that whole thing and move it to the other side of the fraction. So this came to the denominator, these two came to the numerator, and that changes the sign of my exponent. So the 1 became positive and the negative 3's became positive. All right, and that is the answer to number 18. So I'm going to go ahead and erase, and we're going to look at number 26. So for number 26, we want to write it as an exponential. So the thing with tens, if you have something that's a power of 10, then we can just count the number of zeros. So, and that would be our exponent. So I have I have 5 zeros here, right? So this is 1 over 10 to the fifth. It'd be 1 over 10 to the fifth. Or if I just want to write that as 10 to an exponent, which in this particular question, it says in the instructions that the exponent is in fact allowed to be negative. So we're allowed to do this. I just want to write it as 10 to a power. I need to bring it to the top of the fraction. I'm going to bring it to the numerator. So I have 10. That's going to change the sign of my exponent. And that's technically over 1. But if something's over 1, we don't actually have to write it. So this would be my final answer here, 10 to the negative 5. So if I have 1 over a power of 10, then that's going to be 10 to the negative, and then the exponent is going to be the number of zeros. If it wasn't at the bottom of an exponent, if it was just 10,000, if I just wanted to write 10,000 with the exponent and it wasn't 1 over 10,000, that would just be 10 to the fifth. So if it's not 1 over, then it's a positive exponent. If it's 1 over something, then that's going to be a negative exponent. And if I wanted to write this as a decimal, then it would be 0 point. Then after the decimal point, I'm going to have 1 less 0 than the exponent. So my exponent here is -5, so I'm going to have 4 zeros. So essentially, I'm doing 1, 1, and I'm moving the decimal 5 places. So that's 4 zeros. And that moving the decimal thing works with this as well, right? Because this is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I have 5 zeros. So if it's positive, then the number of zeros matches the exponent. If it's negative and I write it as a decimal, then the number of zeros is 1 less, because the decimal has to go around the 1 as well. All right, so hope that helps with 7-1.